All right, welcome to the Sharp Mind Show, episode 76. I'm Nate, the Fit Future MD, your host. Be sure to shop at insercell.com and pick you up a cool, inspirational t shirt today. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video with somebody that needs it, and comment down below and let me know what you thought about it. All right, so, ladies, this is for the Florida. So Florida serial killer fears spread after 3 women found dead in 3 days in Jacksonville, Florida. All right. Now, obviously, it's speculation that this is a serial killer, and all 3 women died in different ways so far that they found. But this is basically going to be a self-defense warning, or let's say you never know when you're the target, right? You're that wife, you're that mom, you're that person that runs a trail every day, or has the same pattern every day. People notice your patterns, right? You might not think you're being watched. You might not think that people notice who you are, or where you're going, or that kind of thing, but they do, right? And you have to be able to protect yourself at all times, right? Whether that be carrying pepper spray, whether that be carrying um, a pew pew, as they call it. You're not allowed to say a firearm on YouTube for some reason, but you know, you have to be trained in a way to defend yourself, right? Um, and I will say that the most likely person to be attacked is a woman with children that does not have a male figure in their lives, right? Um, so keep that in mind as well. If you're a single mom, you are the most likely to be attacked, period, right? Because you're the one out there working hard, and so you got something for somebody to get, right? So people want what you have, right? So keep that in mind, and they're willing to steal, rob, kill to get it. And so I basically come to say this is a warning, right? You can be the target. And so, knowing that you can be the target, you have to do everything you can so that you are not a target, right? So, I highly suggest everyone get their concealed carry permit, to have concealed carry training, to carry everywhere they can possibly carry. And if you can't carry somewhere, then you bring stun guns. Stun guns are a good option. Let's say they even make them, they look like a pin, so you just have a pin on you, and know how to use it, practice how to use it, stuff like that. Um, and I'll be honest, if you're walking around neighborhoods, loose dogs can be dangerous, stuff like that. Um, and so you've definitely seen where dogs get out, attack other dogs. You've seen where dogs kill children. So if you're walking out with your children, dogs kill children, and stuff like that. Obviously, it's very unfortunate that these 3 ladies lost their lives in Florida, in Jacksonville, Florida. Um, and people think it's a serial killer, but obviously the department has come out, the police department has come out and said they died in different ways, but um, don't become the next victim by not preparing yourself for the possibility that you could be attacked, or you could be the next person that um, basically gets attacked, right? So please, please, please know how to protect yourself, know how to defend yourself. Um, And that's really what I came to say about this particular topic. Okay. So, all right, we're going to move on to money, right? And so I'm reading an article, and it basically says the 4% rule for retirement. Is it time to rethink this popular withdrawal guideline? All right. And so if you don't know what the 4% rule is, the 4% rule basically says if you withdraw 4% of your portfolio and the S&P 500 averages 10%, then you'll never run out of money in your portfolio, basically, right? Your portfolio will continue to grow while you pull out money and are able to live off of it, right? So the 4% rule is basically the guideline for how you become financially free, right? Basically, it says you need this minimum amount of money to be able to withdraw 4% in perpetuity, and you'll be financially free and never draw down your actual principal that you have invested, right? So why are they saying this 4% rule is not really working? Well, the truth is, when you actually get to this point, right, you're not going to be really using the 4% rule. You're really going to be using whatever you made that year rule, right? So some years are 20% years, right? And so you choose to withdraw 4% on that 20% year, your portfolio is going to continue to go up. But some years are minus 10% or minus 20% years or minus 30% years, right? So imagine you got this big old, you know, let's say, imagine that you have, a portfolio, say it's $4 million, and that year it loses 30%, so it goes down to $3 million. You probably shouldn't take any money out that year. Matter of fact, you probably should throw some money in there so when it bounces back, it goes up a little bit higher. But that's basically what this article was saying. Is basically saying the years that you lose, you're not going to be able to take out 4%. Because you didn't make any money. And I see that's where it can be, but it balances out. If you have 20% years and the next year you lose money, the win you made in the 20% can compensate. So you can go 4 years at 4% and still be supposedly back to even, right? But that's basically the rule of it. Your money has to make you money, right? And if it doesn't make you money that year, you don't withdraw money, right? And so when you're into full financial freedom, you can't just say, okay, 4% rule only, is basically what it's saying. But the truth is, the 4% rule, if you withdrew 4% every year, it should all even out, and you should continue to grow your nest egg, right? Let's say you have a 30% down year, right? So if it goes down 30%, you're at 3 million. Now going back up 40% of 3 million is less than going down 30% of 4 million, right? So keep that in mind as well. Like but you're going to have good years, you're going to have bad years. But basically, if you're going for financial freedom, you figure out how much you would have to survive. And then because of inflation, I double it, right? So say, you want to retire on $100,000. I say, okay, well, we're going to retire on $200,000, right? And so then you multiply that 200,000 by 25 to get a different number than if you were just do 100, right? So 100, I think, is like 2.5 million, and 200 is like 5 million. All right, so you need at least 5 million to be able to retire, and then you actually only withdraw the 120 that you need. And so if you do the 4% rule and double what you're, do the numbers double, right? Then you should be, in my opinion, you should be good with the 4% rule. You should be good with the 4% rule forever, right? And that's my opinion on it. Let me know what you guys think about the 4% rule. Will it work for you to be financially free for the rest of your life? I think it will. That's what I'm shooting for. So when we hit 5 mil, we're out of here, bro. Like, so this episode is brought to you by Dylan and Davina, The Adventure Begins, which is my wife's children's book. If you have nieces, nephews, or children of your own, be sure to check out Dylan and Davina, The Adventure Begins by Amazon best-selling author Meredith Dillon Johnson. We appreciate your support. All right. On to life coaching today, we've got Jessicaa. Jessicaa says, we got 2 car loans totaling $1,450 a month. We can't breathe financially. Do we sell or try to tough it out? So basically, Jessicaa is drowning in car payments. All right. So inflation's really kicked people's butts when it comes to owning vehicles, right? What's crazy is, I'll go on Facebook Marketplace and I'll see my dream cars from back in the day. They'll be like $4,000, $3,500, $5,000. And I'm like, man, I can just pick up this Mustang. I can just pick up this Camaro, or I can just, I could have an Escalade or stuff like that. But the point of it is that all cars basically go to zero, go to nothing, not worth anything, right? And some of them, even at worth that value, are still great cars, right? And so what we want to do, and what I would tell Jessicaa, is that if it's possible, I would get rid of one car, right? And hopefully, since you're paying $1,450 a month, hopefully these are newer cars and you're not upside down in your payments on it, right? So, so say you've paid it down to, 25,000 and it's worth 30,000, so that you kind of have a little bit left, right? So hopefully it's that way. Most of the time it's not. Most of the time it's the opposite. So you owe 25 and they're willing to give you 20. And so you have to take a $5,000 cut on that, right? So, and for somebody that's already struggling to do that is very difficult, right? So keep that in mind. But go check that out. Figure out. So this is what I would do. I would keep one car and I would sell the other, right? And then what I'm doing is I'm taking that payment that we've been making and I'm saving that up to buy one of those cheaper beater cars, right? And whoever's driving the shortest distance in the family drives the beater car, and whoever drives the longest distance drives the new car, right? And so if you break down locally, hopefully you have, so if you have an old car and it breaks down, you break down locally, you can have AAA or whatever, tow it to your mechanic and, get fixed or whatever. But most of the time, if you have one of these older cars and you do the proper maintenance on it, eventually you've replaced the water pump, you've replaced the alternator, you've replaced the fuel pump, you've replaced all these parts, you've replaced the radiator. Eventually all of that's brand new, right? So then it gets another 10-year lifespan or 5-year lifespan on it. So keep that in mind. If you replace all that brand new, you really just don't have any problems with it anymore, right? And most cars from I would say most cars from 2007, 2008 to 2016, their engine transmission are just like they're going to run to 300,000 miles, right? It's all the little accessories that kind of go bad before that, right? So alternator, water pump, battery, radiator, that type of stuff. So, but that's what I would do. I'd take that, so $725 a month, and I'd save that up until I could buy a beater car. So that means you have one car for 4 to 5 months, and then you're taking that other payment and making it where you can go purchase a car. And all that time you're looking for that, we call it you call it a beater car, but it's really a very nice vehicle, clean, nice vehicle, maybe that a grandma had. She drove it to the store and back once a week, drove it to church. That's what you're really looking for. You're looking for that car that's 10 years old, that grandma drove, and it's been kept up and kept in good condition, basically sat in the garage, that's got maybe 80,000 to 120,000 miles on it, but it's 10 years old. And you purchase that car directly from her for between $4,000 and $8,000, right? And so, and once you do that, right, you're going to continue to save the 750, right? Hopefully. Obviously, you still have the 750 if something goes wrong with the car that you just bought. But that being said, you keep saving the 750, and then you go get the second beater car, right? And then that way you can get rid of the other 750 payment. And so now you have two $1,450 payments that are in savings now instead of going to cars, right? And so then you take that 1450 and you keep adding it up, keep adding it up, keep adding it up until, okay, now I can trade in this beater car for this nice 3-year-old car, right? Certified, pre-owned. And you say if you do that for 2 or 3, so you drive the beater car for 2 or 3 years, then all of a sudden you're driving a 3-year-old BMW. You're driving a 3-year-old, I don't know, Yukon or not Escalade. Escalades are too higher than that, but you see what I'm saying? So you're continuously investing that money, into cars, but you're just not doing it with the high interest rates or whatever, right? And honestly, if you can't do, so say you only, you can't breathe financially, you need an extra 750 and 725 a month. Well, now you have the 725 and you're putting the other 725 away until you can pay for the next car cash, right? So if I was a 2 car household, this is what I would do, right? I would sell one car, get a beater car, or sell one car, have one car for a little while, then purchase a beater car. Whoever drives the shortest distance gets the beater car. Whoever drives the longest distance gets the newer car. And then I would continue to save driving the beater car until I can get a second beater car. All right. And so if you do stuff this way, it will make your life better, right? Because the whole point of working is to pay yourself first, right? And if you're basically just going around the Monopoly board collecting 200 and sending them $200 to the people that own stuff, you're losing the game, right? So that's basically what we want to do. We want to change that, where you go 200, you get the 200, and 200 goes to investing, and you get rich instead of being broke, right? And so if you need help setting stuff like this up, I'm a life coach, and that's what I do. I help you set stuff like this up so that 1 year from now, you're in so much better of situation that you're thinking about, wow, we can get to financial freedom. We can get to that $5 million point and never have to work a day again in our lives if we don't want to, right? And that's what I do. That's how I work. I'm a life coach, and I can help you do that, right? So if you're interested in that, sign up for life coaching, and we'll get you straight so that you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. You don't have to worry about not making it financially ever again, right? All right, last thing of the day is the quote of the day, and it says, quiet grind, loud results, right? So this goes right back to this car loan payments stuff, right? Like, you get rid of that one car, you save the 725, you buy the beater car, then you continue to save the 725, then you buy the second beater car, and now you have 1450 a month to invest, and you just quietly grind it away, and then all of a sudden that 1450 a month is $5 million, and you never have to work a day again in your life, right? and you're sitting there making more money than most people make in 2-income household, and you're financially free, right? But that's what I mean by quiet grind. It's really the strategy, right? And I give you the strategy for free, but if you need help learning how to do it, setting it up correct, then hit me up for life coaching. Um, but so many times people will tell people what they're trying to do, and people are like, "You're an idiot, you're stupid, you're work," But we're not here to keep up with the Joneses. We're here to be richer than the Joneses ever thought they could actually. We're here to actually be rich when the Joneses are fake rich, right? We're here to be able to buy the Joneses house cash. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not here so that we struggle for the rest of our lives, right? So we're gonna grind quietly, and our results are gonna speak for themselves, right? So this has been episode 76, I think. 76, is that right? Let's see. Yep, 76. I'm Nate. I'm the Fit Future MD. Make sure you sign up for life coaching if you're interested. Check out my wife's book, Dylan and Davina, The Adventure Begins, on Amazon by Amazon best-selling author Meredith Dillon Johnson. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, share the video if somebody needs it. Comment down below, let me know what you thought about it. Can we get to financial freedom? And we'll see you in the next one. Peace.